as they come in, shout out Top Cats. You understand? Somehow I got into a whole nother algorithm in the last week. But you gotta let the universe do what it do. You gotta let the universe do what it do. I ended up in some other algorithm. So, somehow I ended up with the House of Consciousness. I mean, it ain't hard to tell, right? But it was like people from the House of Consciousness, but not. I've never seen these people before, right? I just turned on my YouTube and dude named Top Cats was out there. You understand? So I'm watching his show, and shout out to Top Cats because Top Cats got a rough. He's rough with it. You understand? And I like how he give it up because he remind me of me, but from the South. You understand? Like he ain't straight as an arrow with it, right? But what he likes he likes sources. He does like sources. He don't like you to just come up and ramble and spit off the top of your head. He likes to see where can I find this, right? So I didn't have a problem with that, and they did let me up, and he didn't disrespect me. And I think that's one of the biggest apprehensions I have when coming on somebody else's platform, because it's like if it's out of my element here, I'm a big fish. I'm a big fish in a little pond, right? But when I go to other people's platforms, I'm a little fish in a bigger pond where they may not know you, this, that, and the third. And then some of them know you, they just don't. You ain't in this algorithm, so it's kind of like, yeah, I know who you are, but you ain't in this algorithm type stuff. Um, so I got over there. I'm voicing my opinion in the chat because I really don't understand what the question is, and the questions was, but it kind of leads to today's conversation, right? So he wanted to know if I heard him. I kept on asking and kept on asking. Are you asking for proof of the names of the slaves that was in America, right? Because allegedly there was a ledger. There was a ledger, and there was good information over there. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I was thrown off by what are we looking for? All right, what are we researching? Are we looking for African names in an American ledger? Well, my ration alone told me we were slaves, so the priority to keep up with African names. I mean, if you went over to Africa now, my logic and reason going to tell me when you start asking for people's names, depending what tribe you hit, some of these you may understand, and some of these you could keep on asking for days, and you may not understand what they are saying because of the variations of dialects and languages that exist. Which in my head at the time, I said, nah, the names has changed to their masters' names. But these are things that I have heard and I did not look up. So leaving Top Cat show, it said, okay. And not only leaving Top Cat show, I got another random message from my Spanish lady who leaves me messages and then she erases them. I don't know where they go. My Spanish lady writes me messages and then she erases them. She tells me off. Yo, stop doing this. Stop. And then she's gone. I don't know. I told Splashing don't erase her messages. So I don't think Splashing is erasing her messages. I think it's her going back in there and just saying, I'm just erasing it now. He should have seen it by now. She told me stop freestyling. I don't want to say her name because I don't want everybody attacking her. Right? It's not that she's my friend. She tells me off every time. She tells me off. You freestyling, you capping up there. I said, damn. Huh? I said, all right, let me see what I could do. Let me see what I could do. Because not everything, listen, Sometimes you're only looking out the lens of your eye, talking about me, right? So I may be looking at it one way where I'm discussing these things, but maybe she's looking at it like, yo, you could do better. Don't be just saying things up there. So sometimes this pressure actually makes you a better person, right? Because you say, all right, no what, that's how you feel. You feel I'm capping about these things. Say less. Now I'm about to turn up the sort resources, right? So some of the things that I knew to be true, but I never, it was kind of like passed down orally through word of mouth, right? Yo, the slave master changed the slaves' names, which makes sense. And we seen this in Alex Haley's Roots, right? But would it hurt me to go find more resources other than Alex Haley's Roots, which I've seen on TV? I mean, so that's what I did. So we're about to get into a conversation thanks to Mr. Kanye West for going off on a rant. It's not an attack on the Bays, the L's, but if I'm to be honest, I cannot exclude any group, organization, people, myself, anybody just because I may know a few individuals, maybe because just because I may admire their organization to some type of degree. I can't do that, and I won't do that. I didn't do it with Jews. I didn't do it with Christians, Jewish. Let's say that. I didn't do it with the Jewish people. I'm not done doing it with the Jewish people. I'm not done doing it with the Christian people. I've had Islamic people leave here because they didn't like what I'm saying. It's going to continue. This is why I can't look at the numbers. You understand? Can't look at those numbers. People look at, they may like something you say today, and then tomorrow they ain't like what you said, so they unsubscribe. That's fine. That's cool. I got a whole nother platform. It's called Beyond You TV. I'm building it up, and it is going to flourish. And trust me, it's going to flourish. Got plans. People are working on things in the background you guys don't even see. I'm not worried about that. You just got to keep working. YouTube gonna have you on some old, oh, let me see what I need to do to get the numbers. I don't own this platform. Speaking of that, they gave me back monetization yesterday, but I don't care nothing about that. This is what we focused on. See that down there? That's what we focused on today. If you do like something you hear today, which we're going to be talking about a number of different things, we're going to talk about a lot. Let's see what we're going to talk about. And let me say this off top, right? My Spanish lady said, all you do is read. I thought I cleared that up last time, but I'm going to say it again. We're going to have a good time, and I'm going to give out a lot of information. So if you can't catch this whole live in one setting because you had to go, please return to it because there's going to be a lot of information that's said. I even thought about not using profanity during this. I can't promise you because sometimes I know. I just go into a zone and it is what it is. Because I wanted the youth to watch it. When I say youth, I mean younger kids, not like 13, 14. They already cursing. So I don't know what y'all protecting their ears for. They doing more than that. But I don't see why the local youths need to be subjugated to such profound language. But listen, I'm giving this to y'all, the adults, so that you could go back and this is not even a children's show. But my people perish for lack of knowledge. Oh my gosh, do they? So we will be talking about the Native, not only our Native American. I'm tired of really saying this, but today I brought my guns. You could bring your guns and we could go for it. Meaning knowledge. You understand when I say that it's not actual guns. Some of y'all know that, but some squares a block. So you don't you know, I just got to break it down for you. And that's how I want you to respond to me today. But some of y'all don't have YouTube channels, so you do your best part in the comment section to bring sources, though, right? Because that's what I came with today. I didn't really come with barbershop talk. First of all, I hate barbershop talk for the same reason that we're in this situation we're in right now. I've talked to younger people who actually don't believe that the slave trade existed. Like they argue with me and say, yo, there's no proof. I said, damn, that's cold-blooded, bro. There's no proof of the transatlantic slave trade? Yo, we was already here, bro. Now, we're going to talk about we was already here. Oh, we're going to talk about it. And listen, when you have a conversation and things are not fully explained or articulated, or people take a piece of something and then they just use it to support their idea. One of the worst things in the world is a lie mixed with the truth, right? But what if it's not a lie? What if I just gave you a part of the truth and I didn't give you the rest? Think about this knowledge on a whole, right? I gave you part of the truth and I didn't give you the rest. Now, watch this right here. And you know what's crazy? I wasn't going to start like this, but apparently it don't. Damn, I wasn't even going to start like this. I love life sometimes because you think you got it all planned out. And then it's like, nah. Now, this was my ending. I was supposed to end my show with this, right? But I want to make a point real quick. So I did not make this PDF. Some of the slides I made, I did not make this. Oh, I got a whole show, Copper. I got a whole show. It gets deep, Copper. It's gonna get deep. We're gonna get real deep. But I would like to hear your side too when I'm finished. I have to articulate this a certain way because there are some youth who don't actually read books, right? For whatever reason. It's not because maybe they just wasn't brought up. I mean, we went through several evolutionary stages just in the past 40 years, right? From video games, from computers being like in a few people's houses and video games being in like the luxury houses and the elite houses to video games and computers and TVs being in everyone's house, right? So whereas the generation before us spent a lot of time with books and writing, the next generations to come after them would have to deal with video game, mostly playing, video game making, television watching. There was a lot of other I'm not going to call them distractions, but there was a lot of other activities that we had other than reading books. So if you was caught in the crossbreed like me, born in the 70s, the end of the 70s, then you Yeah, you was brought up with a TV in the house, but it may not have been every room. Not to begin with, anyway. You had the one big TV in the living room, right? And then you was off. So if somebody was watching that, it was no cell phones like that. You barely, at one point in time, call waiting was like the new technology. Oh, call waiting. You got something you can click over. You hear the beep, you click over on the other side. That was a new technology. So before that, if somebody was on the phone, they was on the phone, bro. You actually had to call the operator if it was an emergency to break the line and be like, can you just tell them I'm outside and it's cold? Operator just easy right in on your conversation and all that. You in the middle of talking to something private. She just butt right in that joint. Excuse me, this is the operator. Yeah. This is Jamel Saladin on the other line. Would you like me to break through? Yeah. Hey, mama, I'm out here. I'm cold. Right? They won't know nothing about that right there. The generation after me. They're not going to know nothing about that. What else they not going to know about? They ain't going to know about that. There's a bunch of information that we're not handing it down. We're not handing it down. And a lot of the men and women, let's get this right. A lot of people our age don't want to step into eldership, right? So whereas eldership requires us to pass down the information, it is being diluted because of the type of people, the character of people that exist today. Men and women who don't want to be elders. They like, nah, the new 40 is the new 30. You're bugging. The new 40 is the old 40. It's not even the old 40, right? Because the old 40, please. Please. The old 20. The old 20, my 20s couldn't even stand next to the old 20s. So how these 20s going to stand next? It don't happen. Just because you ran it up in some SunTrust banks and Chase, knock it off, bro. You didn't build nothing, bro. This is why I feel the profanity coming on right now because my blood is rushing. You understand? This is where I feel the profanity coming on right now. This is where it happens. Nigga running around acting like he built something. My man, it wasn't that hard. You ran into a couple of Africans that had the plug. You understand? They put a bunch of young Americans on to make y'all niggas dummies running in the banks, this, that, and the third. It's not that hard, man. You just, if you got the plug, you got the plug. The thing is getting the plug, man. Fuck is you talking to? You understand? It's not that some of us didn't have the plug. We just put risk to reward together and say, hey, do I really want to go sit in because I'm going to get caught, right? Fuck. And then some people just don't care. I'm going to run that shit up. But come on, bro. Most of y'all not even doing that. Y'all getting a pigeon to run in the joint. Come out with the money. Y'all Zogarded niggas snatching all the money. Okay, that's us. That's you right there. I know the game, so I'm watching unfold. So yes, congratulations to you. You may be 20-something years old. You're sitting on 300,000. But let's not act like it's the same from some 20-year-old who had to start a business and get the clients and build it up and start making money that way. And there was some African Americans who did that. There was. And I say African American because they descended from Africa. Their origin. And we're going to get into it today. Oh, we're going to get into it. But I brought this part up right here with the President Abraham Lincoln because it's going to make my point, right? So as I'm reading this, I'm going to read it to you guys. It says, because some of y'all can't read that. It says, I am not, nor ever have been in favor of making black people voters or jurors or politicians or marriage partners. Right? So as I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, damn. You said all that, Abraham Lincoln? I continue reading. Right? Let me try to blow it up. There we go. So you can follow along. I continue reading. It says, there is a physical difference between the white and black races, which I believe will forever forbid the two races living together on terms of social and political equality. And as much as they cannot live while they do remain together, there must be the position of superior versus inferior. And I, like any other man, am in favor of having the superior position assigned to the white race. Now, if you just heard that, shout out to Cosmology Bay in the building. And the Bays are in the house as I expected them to be. And I had to use a little bit of clout chase to get people to hear the conversation. So we're going to get to that. And if I do drop the link, it will only be for Bays, so that they can have representation on their side to really retort. Only the L's and Bays, please. But that's when I do drop the link. But let's get back to this. I read this and I said, damn. You said all that, Abraham Lincoln? I was riding with you, bro. I was riding with you. So something said, yo, go back to and look that up, because you don't even know if it's true and you showing it on your show. You have not looked this up yet. So I looked up the speech, and let me bring this over here. And the first one was actually from an archive that the New York Times had from December 28th, 1860, right? So it's not all legible, as you guys could see. Some of the words I can't even read, and I'm like, oh, man. I could read some of it. I can't read some of it. I say, yo, I need another source. Otherwise, that's going to cause problems. So I go get another source. And there's more. There's way more sources. And this is what I'm talking about, dangerous, right? And this is what we're going to get into. So when someone says things like, yo, we was already here, meaning Africans, right? If we don't hear the whole context, it's not that they lying. It's not that they lying. The African presence was in the New World / Americas, North and South and Middle. They was. Was it enough to say that we was running through here in mass quantities and civilizations? I wouldn't say that. African presence was here. Archaeologists, anthropologists have confirmed our presence. I say our because I descend from Africa. I showed you guys my when I posted my DNA results. People thought it was a fraud. I guess. I'll show it again. You understand? Sometimes when you put up stuff or you say something, if it doesn't favor somebody else's argument, then it's like it was made up, it was a fraud, right? If DNA is such a fraud, let me ask you this. Let me look at you when I tell you this, because we're going to get back to that in a second. If DNA is such a fraud, how did I find my biological family? Yo, if DNA is such a fraud, how did I find my biological family? And they was looking for me. We are going to get into Ivan Van Sertima, but what I did, because I anticipated some people criticizing these authors, I went a little bit further, right? Because that's what you got to do. You got to anticipate somebody saying, who'd you go to? So I already heard that question. Yo, they gonna say who you went to. Word? Okay, let's dig a little deeper, get a few more. So I didn't really come to the conversation with my joint in my hand. You understand? Now you said DNA cannot tell you the ancestry, though. Prove that. You said only relatives. How do you know that? Because that's content, right? It's a whole nother content. Splash and write that down. I'll do a show just on that. Because this is what the Spanish lady told me not to do. She told me not to stop capping, right? So I stopped capping and I'm coming with sources. I tried to source everything. She says, which elders' DNA have they collected to compare it to? I don't know. From what they told me or what I learned, they would start sequencing DNA in the 1950s. I didn't even know they were sequencing DNA, or did it really, was it possible? So because of the technology and results that they were happy with, I'm assuming they let us know what they were doing. I did not know they were doing this up until just recently. And then I had to research on how long they were doing it and the evolution of going from sequencing to being able to code. So this is no longer an elementary or primitive science, nor did I think it was in the beginning anyway, because going into what I believe, these species been playing with DNA for way longer, but that's a whole different subject, right? But getting back to what I said, if DNA is such a scam, me personally, I don't think they're just going to make DNA to see who you related to. But nonetheless, I found my people, they found me, right? Now, let's get back to this right here because I want to show you how dangerous it is. Because this slide here made it seem like Abe Lincoln. I mean, that if you just leave it like that, that sounds crazy. That sounds nuts. But once I came over and I read the whole thing, right? And I'm going to take it back from, let's see. Oh, there's 58. Hold on one second. I don't need 58. Give me a second. There is a physical. Let's start there. There is a physical. There we go. All right, so then I read it from here, right? Which is not part of the information, because if you got part of the information, it's going to stir you a certain way. If you got part of the information, somebody else just give you a piece, then they could kind of use it to their advantage to stir you up inside. I don't want to do that. This is exactly why at the end of my presentation, I'm going to let up the B's and the L's. So anything that I may not have gotten right, they get a chance to say. And they can say, yo, Saladin, that wasn't correct what you said on this behalf. I would love for you to show us proof, though, because that's what I'm going to do. So here it says, there. Now the same, this is the same thing as this, right? I'm going to read the whole thing, though. There's a physical difference between the white and the black races, which I believe will forever forbid the two races living together on terms of social and political equality. And inasmuch as they cannot so live while they do remain together, there must be the position of a superior and inferior, and as much as any other man in favor of having the superior position assigned to the white race. I say upon this occasion, I do not perceive that because the white man is to have the superior position, the Negro should be denied everything. So there was more to the conversation. It didn't just stop with as much as any other man in favor of having the superior position assigned to the white race. As this here slide just took a piece of the speech. And when you read it like that, it's like, now, are they lying? No, they're not lying. That's what it said. He just took a piece of it to infuriate, to trigger, in my opinion. I don't know why the person who did this, but it would seem to get people on his side, to trigger. That's what it would send to me, logically thinking. But then when I read the rest of the speech, Abraham Lincoln goes on to say, I say upon this occasion, I do not perceive that because the white man is to have the superior position, the Negro should be denied everything. I do not understand that because I do not want a Negro woman for a slave, I must necessarily want her for a wife. Right? So it's going on and on. You guys could look it up. My point is this, though, going back to my original point. We're going to go over information today that I think wasn't fully given to people to persuade people to do a certain thing. A lot of y'all not going to like what you're going to hear. But I am interested to see if you could call me a liar or not, because I had really resourced a lot of this stuff before I decided to put it in my slide. because I assumed that scholars and intelligent people would show up. So somebody today got to be proven right. Somebody today going to be proven wrong. All right. So today, Original Man is in the house. Banks is definitely still causing problems. We get into it. We're going to get into all of that. But first, I want to get into a little history about ourselves. Because knowledge itself, to me, has always been a big issue. And growing up, I've expressed this before. I've always had a. Give me one second. And growing up, I've always had a curiosity and somewhat, I would say, a passion, somewhat to, I don't know. It just seemed like, why can't we? What are we? Right? Just chasing down our identity. Growing up in New York, you had so many different, like different organizations going on, right? So whether you were a Black Christian, that's one. That was a whole different dark hole that you're going down right there. But then when you go to school, I went to school with Hebrew Israelites. The true and living, right? And they taught me certain things. Had a bunch of friends that was Muslim, but then there was different facets of Islam. So then you had that got confusing for a while, right? Because then not all of them was the same facet of Muslim. Some of them was NOI. Some of them, it didn't seem like it was Muslim. It just was like, okay, I don't know what that is, but your father wears a red hat, right? You mean that's your pops, the one that wear the red hat on the top? Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's more science. Okay, okay, okay. There's a lot. There was a lot going on. There was a lot going on. Don't even try to get answers on 125th Street, right? It was the, you know, the 125th Street was supposed to be the Mecca, and we called it Mecca. Called Harlem Mecca. We're going down to Mecca to get some bud. Come back smelling like all type of frankincense and all that. I mean, it was overwhelming. You could get down there. There's like so many books, which is good, right? For you to read different books. I learned over the years not to get married to one book because just like Copper said a second ago, you may read one author, and I'm gonna show you some authors in a second, and not all of them get along. So when I show you these authors, it's not I'm showing you they all saying what. Some of them are not saying what I believe in. Some of them, but they still scholars. And in order to be a scholar, you have to have resources. You have to research. You have to have evidence. So they not all of them say what I, believe in, but I have to be fair and I have to listen to the evidence. You can say something, but that don't mean I gotta believe you until you bring me evidence. Anyway, I found that we was like, I didn't really see that other races were dealing with what we were dealing with, right? Even if other races had different facets within them, right? Like, I don't know if this is true, but maybe a Russian could have been like, yo, what type of Russian you are, right? I know the USSR had different nationalities, so to say, within them, right? So when they splintered off, you had Ukraine, you had Russia, you had different facets of who at one time people would said they the same people. And then some of these people said, we are not the same people. We're not the same people. But to this degree, I don't think any other people had to deal with this type of trauma of not really knowing who they are, but wanting to be a part of something at the same time. It is and was a really big problem. Or I say it was and is still a very big problem. So when someone comes out and they say something like Kanye West said, and he said, we're not black, right? Well, was he lying? No, I mean, there's no, technically, he's not lying, right? We're not a color. We were always regarded as a nationality. And Moor was not a nationality that was even in the conversation. More or less was a description. Now I'm talking globally. I'm not talking from isolated incidences from a organization that it fits its objective. I'm talking about on a global scale. More wasn't even in the conversation before a specific time, then it was in the conversation, then it wasn't, then it was brought back up. Right? So then I had a lot of people, they were floating around and saying, yo, I'm more. I said, oh, okay. I didn't really know what it meant. Okay, you more. Let me look into this a little bit. I'll be right back. Yes. So and I'm repeating these things in certain videos because repetition is a part of indoctrination. We've been programmed for decades, right? I am led to believe that even agents were sent in to throw us off the trail even further. But that is hearsay, and that's my own belief. I cannot prove that, nor would I even go down that rabbit hole right now. Right? It's hearsay. But if I'm sitting in my own living room thinking to myself, I say, yeah, they definitely sent in some scholars that they had on the payroll. Right? People, melanated people over here in the United States, especially that have been cut off from their original origin, their original people, they crave. Maybe it's even subconscious, but mine wasn't subconscious as so much it was consciously. It was both. Yo, check this out. I want to be able to say with confidence, just like the Mexican man says, I'm Mexican, just like the Irish people say, I'm Irish. Just like all these other people in the world able to say, yo, I'm this. Yo, when it comes to us, it's so fuzzy and so, it's like, yo, we just want a straight answer, man. And that's important to us. That's so important. And somebody is going out their way to prevent us from knowing who we are. And why are you doing that? Then that's my second question. I say, yo, why would you do that? Why is it so important that we stay confused right in this subject here? I don't have the answer to that definitively. And when I say I don't, that means I don't have the answer definitively to show you any sources, right? I could go on a rhetoric spew, but I'm trying to stay away from rhetoric today for this show because this is a very important topic. So I must not get led off into rhetoric and personal feelings and stuff like that. I have to control myself because the conversation to grow legs and is somewhere down the block, and that's the whole show is done. What was your purpose of doing the show if you wasn't going to come up here and talk evidence and facts, Jamel? Your whole show is shot. Try again later. And I don't have time for that. So these are the four aspects that you're looking at right now that I feel are being weaponized. Mind control, semantic manipulation, biologic. I changed it, right? It was what was it? Genetic manipulation. But I wanted to make it more definitive. So I said biologic engineering, right? Because within that, we got biologic technology that's coming as it's out right now, right? It's out now. Technology that they can use as medicine, or medicine that has technology in it that will allow certain things to happen with the use of the technology to your body, certain changes, if you will. It's also in the food, right? And some of these things are not to even heal you, or some of these things are not for some type of dark conspiracy to take over your body. No, some of these things it just pays to make you sicker, allegedly. I say allegedly, but I know if I wanted to do a show to prove how these organizations and these industries work together, that's the conclusion it would come to. Because a lot of the ingredients that are in the foods that we have here in America are banned in other countries because of the danger of the toxicity within those ingredients. Nor do some of these foods that we eat even call. There's no need. It's not necessary to put a lot of these ingredients in the food that they say is for preservatives. I don't, I don't know why Tropicana would use the liquids of a roach to put. And I did not believe this, so I had to go look it up. I seen it on Instagram. I'm not going to repeat that. Let me go look this up before I even repeat this or show you a video. Sure enough, it's not the same type of roach that's in your house, but it is on the bug that they use is from the cockroach family, and they said they used it for coloring. They used the juices of the bug for coloring. And in my head, I said out of all of the different options that you might have had, you chose the juices from a bug from the cockroach family? It's crazy talk. So that's only one option there. I mean, that's only one example. Anyway, getting on to information censorship. This is a big one. Because again, who controls what you see and what you hear? You might have to look those people up, see what boards they on, see who they associate with. This is very time consuming. See when this thing starts. This is very time consuming. Everyone does not have the time to do it. So I don't always go back and forth with people that don't have time to do it. They just heard stuff orally, because you could have heard something orally, but you could have heard half of it, right? And you could have heard it from that person's perspective, where they wanted to trigger something within you so that you would join their plight. Nah, you gotta get down here in the trenches with me, and we got to dig through these books, and we got to dig through what's left of the knowledge of the resources, and then put it together like Humpty Dumpty. We got to. You can't just tell me what they told me in the barbershop. I don't believe these niggas cut hair for a living, Lord. These niggas is not scholars. They in here having conversations with different people day in and day out, and they taking that as word is bond. I did have a barber though. He had nothing but books on his what's the name. He didn't last long. his love was in barbering. Yo, shout out to Rick, Mount Vernon, New York. He had wild books, and he would underline. All his books was atrocious because he would write in all of his books. Son had real knowledge. I can have a conversation with him. I know he's, you understand? Even if it doesn't agree with what I'm saying, he could find it. Yo, this person said this. All right, let's look that up. This is a great start. But when the conversation grows legs to the point where I'm talking to young people and they don't even think that I'm talking about vehemently, they talking to me crazy. Yo, show me evidence where you can say that the slave trade even existed. I said, what? Damn, bro. Who you been talking to? Niggas is smoking and talking bullshit in a Capri somewhere with big ass rims, agreeing with each other. Niggas say, yo, we Indians. You Indian? You know for a fact you Indian, Kanye West? You know that for a fact? You know one thing, I'm about to change the slide, but you know another thing I love? When I could bring up like 4 people, right? Here be the situation, bust it. But how you know it's right? Right? Anybody can make up anything. If that's the case, why are we even debating? If you're gonna reduce the conversation to how do you know that they're right and anybody can write anything, then what difference does it make? Because I could turn around and give you the same exact thing. I can say, so how you know you're right? Cause some imam told you, cause some dude the head of your organization told you. That's why you think you right. No, you're gonna say look, I got proof. Then you're gonna point me to a book. I can still say, yo, how you know that's right? So I'm not gonna do that. So before we even start, you could do that. I already anticipated y'all doing that though. So you're gonna have to do that to like 3, 4. If I want, I could go get more sources, right? I would love to I spend a whole day. Let's just go source for source. We could do it. That's what I mean by gun for gun. Let's go. Let's go source for source. And you guys make me better, right? Because I anticipate somebody just running out of breath. You don't got no more fight, and then you say, "Well, how you even know that's true anyway?" What are you talking about, beloved? I thought we was doing this. I thought we was going gun for gun. Don't give up on me now. Do not give up on me now. All right, here we go. Okay, definitely. Anthropology in diaspora. I want to introduce a couple of terminologies. If you know this, great. But just remember, we not all starting from the same level, right? So if we are to sustain, we cannot. Sometimes I go to other people's platform, they make other people seem stupid if they didn't know this, right? So that's what happens. People are afraid to say, yo, I don't know. So people just they're not gonna say anything because you make them feel stupid when they open their mouth, and it's like, nigga, how you know that? Like, come on, bro. First of all, a lot of you niggas don't know what the fuck you talking about either, though, bro. So it becomes group thinking, right? Yo, how you don't know that? Yeah, hell yeah, we all Indians, nigga. Yo, shut the fuck up, bro. How you know this? Yo, pull out some book. Give me some resources right now, my nigga. Let's go. Gun for gun. Let's go. You don't got no resources. Oh, everybody know that. Yo, bro. Respectfully and disrespectfully, please. Come out my face, bro. Respectfully and disrespectfully, please, bro. Because you are part of the problem. Niggas like you running around on confidence, on King David, you running around, yo, yeah, this. Yo, bro, where's your institutional learning, please? Please at least tell me you was locked up for 5 years and you was building in the library. At least tell me that. I know it's not true. I know you've been ear hustling. And then conversations, they grow legs and they go where they're going to go. So anthropology is the scientific study of humanity concerned with human behavior, human biology, culture, societies, and linguistics in both the present and past, including past human species. Keep it real with you. Because our anxiety and our passion is so high to find out who we are, a lot of times we are already, when I say we, I mean the melanated people here in the United States, right? Just the energy alone. It's a lot of energy. You understand? From how we treated by police traditionally. Not saying that every officer or white officer, but the perception, the frequency that comes across the news, right? There could be so many good cops and white cops that really would never even do that to somebody. But the frequency that they show us, I asked you a second ago, who controls the media, right? Who controls these visuals that we see? Who controls the audio that we hear? I didn't have to answer you. I said it would be good for you to go and research that and find out what boards they are and find out their missions and their visions for society. That's what I said. But I never told you who. You go look it up. But because they keep showing us, that's why I stopped watching the news personally. You're going to show me every morning some black kids running around robbing people in Brooklyn, this, that, and the third. Right before I go to bed, you show me the same thing. The black kid killed somebody, this, that. I wake up in the next morning, you show me the same thing, this, that, and the third. Yo, what you doing, bro? Right? I got to go watch Dateline just to hear about any other races that's doing things in a, criminalistic fashion or this, that, and that, right? And it'd be crazy stuff going on over there. I'm like, yo, bro, why that never made it to the news, though? What is you telling me right now? Well, I got to make it to the news every morning, sharp, nigga. 6 o'clock, I'm on that joint, running down the street doing something reckless and foolish. Then right before I go to bed, you're going to show me the same thing. So, because of that experience, many of us are kind of hyper focused on our own individualization, right? We are more concerned as anthropologists. What happened to us? But I'm gonna keep it real with you, melanated people. We're not the only people here on Earth, right? There's different. We coexisted, and sometimes you need one people to. You have to study another people to even tell your story a lot of the time. So it's good not to just study. Right, I know that's your focus, right? And we have focuses, even universities, African studies, this, that, and the third. But even in these courses, you're going to learn about other civilizations. You have to, because we all affected each other, which we will be talking about tonight. Diaspora refers to a large group of people who share a culture, who share a cultural and regional origin, but are living away from their traditional home. Now, this diaspora, oh my God. Like I said, it creates a yearning within individuals. I'm going to speak for myself. I know it creates a yearning in other people, but, I'll speak for myself. Cosmology basis, every child has a right to a name and a nationality. Boom. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, right? And they must know how much we yearn for that. So when people know what you desire, if people know what you want, and they go get something that you may, this is what you wanted right here, then people going to rush to it and say, yo, I'm this, right? So people can rush up and say, yo, you know you the original Indians, right? Oh, word? Hell yeah, bro. You can run down some scenarios to that person, and guess what? That person is waking up the next day and saying, yo, we the real Indians, word is born. Now, I want to talk about some anthropologists of ancient civilizations. Yo, you don't have to agree with me on none of these people, right? But me personally, I don't feel that the melanated people should be forgetting these type of people's names. Because they did research and they searched after the evidence. Now, you may not like their evidence, which is going to happen because not all of these people agree. Everybody I'm showing you is not agreeing with everybody. But I'm giving you at least a place to start. To look up some people for information. My people perish for lack of knowledge, right? Then you may say, yo, where do I find this knowledge? That was the problem when I went to 125th Street back in the days. It was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. And everyone is talking at the same time. I don't understand what none of y'all talking about, bro.